Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Welcome to From Zero to Revenue, the show that features the journey of successful entrepreneurs from around the world. I'm your host, Chris Yap. Today we are here to discuss how an immigrant from India, who was against all odds coming into the U.S., transformed his vision, his ideas into revenue, not once but multiple times. I'd like to thank our sponsor, GapTech Global, your one-stop shop outsourcing company for customer service, marketing, and various back-office work. You can learn more about their services at www.gaptechglobal.com. I am very excited to introduce our very special guest today. Please welcome Tony Mangat, CEO of Mangat Group, MJ Truck Tires, and Bin Mayhem. Tony, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
I'm super excited to have Tony here with us today. When I was deciding on having a show here at Phoenix Business RadioX, the first person that came to mind as being a guest really was Tony, just because of how special his journey was. So with that said, Tony, tell us your business. I know you've got a few, but tell us whatever you want to tell us. Tell the audience your businesses, and we'd love to learn more.
Yes, I do. My main business is trucking, so we do long haul trucking. I started that in 2003 with one truck in Arizona, and then we started growing. We went from one to like almost 100 trucks, and then the last couple of years we kind of slow down a little bit back to like 65, 70 trucks, and then we go almost all over the U.S., and that's my main business. Then we start a couple other things. Last like year and a half ago, I started thinking about doing something different. Than we did a tire. We bring tires from India called JK Tire. They're really popular in India, and then we did really well with them, and then we keep bringing them. And then we had just probably almost 6 months ago, we started doing, because I had a warehouse here.
Right.
And then I started doing, buying like all liquidation stuff and selling online. And we did with like Home Depot and Lowe's and all that stuff. But that didn't work really well. Then we started with Amazon. And that's what we've been doing last 9 months. They're doing really well. We buy truckload of liquidation, like all the returns or self-pulls or everything they have, and then we sell on a platform. It's like called Auction Nation, and so we've been doing well. And then after that, I start thinking about how we can do better. Then we open a like storefront, So now we did that. It's called Bin Mayhem, and it's doing really good. And then people are excited because we have everything there, from glasses, like really high-end glasses, to watches, and then like air fryers. I mean, all kind of stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was there last week.
Yeah.
By the way, the store is called Bin Mayhem, and it's located at 43rd Avenue and Bell Road. I was there last week, and it's crazy. There were people lining up outside just to get in, considering the store has only been open for a few weeks. So this is the reason why this is such a special guest, because I've seen Tony. I've known Tony since 2014 or so. We've done several ventures together, lost a lot of money, but made a lot of money in a lot of ways as well. But Tony, like, tell me your story. I know I've heard your story many, many times, but this is kind of like what I want our audience to hear is what drove you to come to the U.S. and what was that journey like just from India to the U.S. And I would love to hear your story.
Yes, Chris. So I know we talked a lot of before. So I was in college in 1992, and in India, a lot of people don't know there's a big time like Hindu terrorism. That's what I call it, because the Hindus there, they don't want any other minority there. Either you're Christian or Muslim, you're Sikh. They want everybody out of there because then they can do their own thing. So that was a big thing. They was killing. And my friend, like there a lot of my friends get killed. So my parents had only option to ship me out from there. And then they found one of my dad's friend, he told my dad, like, hey, it'll cost you $10,000 that time.
Right.
it's a lot of money, for a medium class in India. And so my dad put that together, borrowing from my relatives and everybody, and then he gave him the money, and then he lied to him. He told him, "I'm gonna be traveling with a real visa, and then they're gonna arrange me to get a permanent residency here."
Right.
But it was all lies. So soon I gave them money, I left my house, and then they took from Punjab to Bombay. It's another big city, and then from Bombay they fly me to Zimbabwe. So we stayed there for a couple of months in Harare, and then from there we flew to Nigeria, and then I stayed there for another couple of months. Then from Nigeria they fly us back to New York, and then it was all fake document, and everything was different what they told us. Then I landed in New York on my birthday, October 15, 1992. It took me like almost 3.5 months from India to US, and I had like $20 in my pocket when I landed in New York. And then so we were like 5 guys together who came from Nigeria, and then soon we landed there, so they asked us all the information from immigration. So our agent told us to just lie to them, don't tell them where you come from. So we did what they told us, and then they kind of kept us there for like almost like 10 hours, and then they told us, hey, we'll go do whatever we have to do, political stay, because that was our thing what was going on. And so we left from the airport, and then we get a taxi driver. It was even another worse thing happened. So we were only like less than 5 minutes away from a temple. That's where we were going to go to, and then he took all of our money. So later on I find out it was only like $20 ride. He charged us $100. So he knew each guy had $20 in their pocket. So we was at a temple with no money, and that's how I start kind of my journey here.
Well, these are the kind of stories you only see on movies, and most of the time they're not even true. But this is a real story, and that's why it's just something to appreciate how your humble beginnings to what you've achieved over time. And if you don't mind, share us how young you are, just a range, just so people can have an idea that you're not 60 or 70.
Yeah, I born 1970, so 15 October 1970. So I'm going to be 50 year this year. Yes,
crazy.
Yeah.
So when you got here, I know you had several odd jobs, from New York until you got to in the trucking industry. You drove a truck first, right? Before you had your trucking company. Was that right?
Yes, yeah. I drove one truck before, because what happened. So when I landed in New York, so we was with one of my the guy who were traveling with me. He knew some people, and then we went to their house. So they were like 5 guys in the basement. They were staying there. They're working together. One guy was working at a gas station. Another one was a taxi driver, and then 2 were doing construction job. And we were just talking to him, all curious, like what we gonna do. Mm-hmm. So the one of the older gentleman, he told us, hey, if you guys want to make a real money here, you need to drive a big truck. Mm-hmm. So that's how I get a hint from him, and then I call my brother-in-law, my cousin's husband. I call him. He was a truck driver. So I called him and said, hey, man, I want to be a truck driver too. I have no idea, what I was getting into. Right. And so he owned one, and then I get a ticket from there to California. And then a week later, I was with him in his truck learning how to drive, and that's how I get into trucking.
That is really quite a story. And how long did you drive the truck before you thought of having your own trucking company?
I start from 93 till 2003.
Okay.
So that was...
What was that aha moment? Like, what was that moment when you realized, man, I don't want to be driving the truck for a long time. I want to do something, because you probably felt that you're meant to do something bigger. What was that moment that made you think, I need to do something else?
Yeah, so what happened I got married in 2002, and then June 3rd, 2003, my son was born, and that was the last time I drove. Then I found another driver. He was the guy I know. I put him in the truck, and then we bought a couple more trucks. That's what the time I started growing a trucking business. Because before that, I was just one truck driving by myself. So that's what I started, and sooner my son born, and I never drove after that. So I've been 17 years almost now.
So you grew your business from one truck to about 100 trucks over time. Has that always been a dream, like growing up, to have your own business, to kind of have, the wealth you have right now? Was that always the dream growing up?
I mean, not really. I've been always different than a lot of people. I never think like anything I do, I never think I want to make money out of it.
Hmm.
I always just go with the flow and then keep doing stuff. That's kind of how I do. I have like a couple people. I hired one person one time, and he come to talk to me about job. He want to work with me, and then I said, yeah. I mean, he was an older gentleman. I respect him. I said, yeah. I mean, I would keep talking about like how he does. He said, you know what? I never move my hand until I see a dollar sign. And I was like really surprised. I told him, I said, you know what? To be honest with you, I never think about making a dollar or anything. Doesn't matter what I do. And then he was like totally shocked. And then he worked with me a couple of years. And then when he left, he said, you know what? I agree with your philosophy, because he said dollar always come when you really work. Mm-hmm. He said, I always think before I do anything, I said, can I make any money, or I'm going to make any money? And that's a big problem, I think, with a lot of people. And I'll tell everybody, like, hey, just do hard work and you will be successful. There's no way around it.
That is absolutely true. This was just a discussion I had with my son the other day. So by the way, my son, Gabby, he's actually working for Tony at his warehouse. And Gabby, Gabby, he's a really good kid, very smart kid. He doesn't really need to do work this summer, but he wanted to do the work because he felt like it's going to make him better. He wasn't after the money, because he just felt like he was born into this kind of like privilege, and he wants to earn every breath he takes, kind of like is what he's saying. So to your point, Tony, I think that's a very important message that a lot of, not just even youth, but a lot of people miss. They do everything for money. And I think what happens is that, you probably agree with me on this, the more you chase money, the more they become elusive. Yeah. And we've seen it. We've seen it in several ways. But going back to that story, when you thought of, you have your own trucking company, and you never thought of becoming a truck driver or having your own trucking company growing up, right? Like when you were in India, you didn't have that like ambition that I'm going to have that kind of business, no?
No, never, no. In India, I mean, like we live really, really a easy life. So your parents give you everything you need, and then you just grow with it, and then you just think you like somebody owns you something. That's all kind of life we had there. When I moved here, I was thinking same way. I said, you know what, I'm gonna now already move. I'm going to US, and then we're gonna make a lot of money. I'm gonna do this and that. I didn't know until I get to New York, like it's not that easy what I was thinking before. Mm-hmm. And then when I landed there, then the most story I always tell people, those guys who I was staying for a couple of days, they bought a car, and I still remember that it was a 2-door like old car. They pay $700, mm-hmm. and then they were like 4 guys partnered on it, like each guy pay a couple $100, whatever they did, and then they were super excited. Mm-hmm. And then that time I was like, oh my God, and you know what? I'm at a wrong place. I'm like, if these guys been here like few years and they bought a car for $700 and they're so excited, then there's something wrong with the picture.
Right. Well, obviously, with whatever transpired in the last, so many years, it seems like where every spot you were, it was a reason for that to happen, right?
Always. Yeah,
there's always a reason for things happening. Obviously, you having to leave India, not the best way to come to the US, but you still made it. I think if there's anything that I can take from it, it's a different level of resiliency. What's your driving force, like until today? Because really, right now, you don't really have to work, but right. There's still that serial entrepreneur in you. What drives you to keep pushing?
I have like I said, when I left India, it was a huge thing because I really nobody want to leave their own motherland. That I was really sad to leaving, but they pushed me to leave, and so that stuck in my mind. Like I want to do something for my religion or my community or anything I can do, and that's always stuck in my head in the background. And whatever I do, I always plan on doing something. What can I do for my community or anybody, like a human being, no matter what it is. But so now, last couple 3 years, you probably know, like we built school in India.
Yeah.
I had so I met these people, and then they said, we're building a school in India. It's going to be a free education for poor kid. Then we make money. What other kid who is going to be paying for it? And then so then we're going to. Soon as they graduate, we're going to put them in a good college. They're going to be engineer, doctors, or anything they can do better in their life. And then so I sold my land. I did, I sold a lot of stuff, and then I gave them $1.6 million.
Right.
And then they built a school in India. And then sooner we're ready to go into next level, they change their mind, because in India you cannot do a lot of stuff like here we do, and then I have to send them money through, because I try to send money through the bank, but bank will not even let it do that, because they knew we was building something for our community.
Right.
So the government will not even let you take the money there legally. So we have to send all the money other way. And so soon as the school get built, and the guy who owned the land, he changed his mind. Said, well, it's my school now. And then he made even police report against me that I was threatening him and doing something. Yeah, so it was kind of bad deal. But then I never stopped. And after that, I paused for a little bit. Then I figured, you know what, I cannot do anything there, but I'll do something here. So now my dream to build a sports and community center in the U.S., and then I can have like all the older people go in there, and we're going to have a little kitchen in there. And then also I'm thinking build something about like other religion, so people can study different religion there. So we have a like kind of library or something. And then also I'm thinking maybe someday we have a TV station, so we can do all the different documentary on my religion, because we have such a big history. I mean, it's like so real, and a lot of people are missing it. And then if I start telling people, it'd be like, it's so crazy. So that's kind of my dream. Before I die, I want to do something like that, and then that's why I have to work, and then I never stop.
So so that's the vision, right? Because I was going to ask that at the end, was what's the ultimate goal? Because obviously, almost every year or every other year, as we've known each other for so long, you always have something new that's going on. Like, I know you still have. You're about to build that storage place by Olive and 101. That's a major project. But you've got all these enterprises, starting from ground up. Is that the main goal? Like, is that the ultimate goal, to build that, what do you call that? Like a complex or community complex where people could get together, have a sports complex in it? Is that the ultimate goal?
Yeah, because I mean, you need a lot of money and nothing cheap here. So my goal is, because I don't want to get a loan or something from the bank and then I have to worry about paying it back. So my goal is next 2 years, if everything goes by the plan, the way I'm doing everything. I mean, God always help us, when we do good stuff. I think in a couple of years I can achieve that. Then we can keep adding more to it, like however every other business does. So that's what my end goal is. Because for my kids, I think they're doing really well in school. And then if I can make it with $20 in my pocket, and then they can make it too, with their education, and they're still going to have house, so they still have my sport,
Right.
So that's kind of, I think. I know, a lot of people think a different way. They are like, well, I'm going to make everything for my kids. But yeah, I'll give them education. I give them to what they need to jumpstart. But after that, they have to be on their own. And so my goal is, if I can build something like that, that'd be something, I think it'd be special. Imagine that. I mean, it'd be a sports center. Kids are playing there every day, and then it's free.
Right.
And then also then we can get coaches. That's what my goal is. If I have a couple of business, like you talk about self-storage. I mean, self-storage is such a good business, like a almost like a bulletproof. And then most people, they've been doing last 20 years, have been studying on it. They are always, they never lose more than 2-3%, or maybe 5%. They always stay 95+% occupied.
Wow.
So that's my goal. Like, if I can build something like that, then I can pell back. If I do bigger things, at least I know the income be coming and I support everything I want to do.
Right.
So that's kind of my goal in my life before I die. I want to do something special for other people. And it can be, I'm not just doing only for my community or my religion. It can be anybody.
Right.
Doesn't matter who they are, as long as they like to enjoy there, they can come in, they can have vegetarian food, they can play, and then we'll kind of set up different sports with different coaches. That's my goal. Because the thing is, with the kids, they can go either way because they're like, I would say, a rubber stamp. If we get them into sports, I think you can save a lot of headaches in the future because then they will not go into drugs and the other stuff because
That's
there's
true.
so many things going on here. So that's kind of my goal in my life. Like if I can save, I would say 100 kids a year or 50 kids a year, I think that'd be a blessing, for me to help out. What I can say, what, I born here and then I did something before I die. So that's kind of.
So I think for a lot of our listeners, I think the biggest takeaway that they could probably learn from this is that you don't really set up businesses just for making money, and I think it's this is a probably one of the biggest testimony of that. And like I said, we've known each other for a long time. I've seen you do different things and talk about not just kind of focus on your religion. I remember, Tony, you did sponsor at one point this family who needed like a ramp to be built because this person was on a wheelchair. You didn't even know this person, but you did donate, kind of help that person have that ramp built in his house. So I've seen it. I've seen that. So I see like the big goal of helping people. Now going back to the business side, as I mentioned earlier, we've done different businesses. We didn't really make money, and outside that, you also lost a lot of money in other ventures. What's your philosophy as far as just to keep going? Because I know some who went through what you went through, they've given up. But obviously, you're still here, and you're kicking ass harder than ever. How did that happen? What was your mentality in just keep going despite all the failures? And we're not talking about cheap failures. We're talking about millions of dollars that vanished. How do you keep going with that?
I probably always give credit to upstairs. I believe in God because I
100%.
cannot do anything without believing in Him. And then He never let me stop either. And then I fell down and I get up again. That's how I did. And then I never even think as a failure. I always learn.
Right.
Everything we do, there's always a lesson. And the lesson I learned is like you have to control your business.
Mhm.
And that was the biggest lesson.
100%.
Yeah, and that's why I tell people. I said, well, I know I will be honest, but the problem that happens when we do a lot of partnerships, and a lot of people, they only do partnership because they just want to make money.
Yes.
And then they make money and then they go away. But if you control it, you're not going to mess around with their money. You're going to be fair. Then at least you will not get screwed on it. That's the only thing I tell people. Like, make sure, be honest and be fair. And then it's always, there's input and output or action or reaction. It works. It doesn't matter what you do. Any action you do, there's going to be reaction to it. If you do good stuff,
Yeah.
it's going to be 10 times coming back to your good stuff. But you do bad stuff, and then it's going to be 10 times worse to you. So it never fails. And then a lot of people don't think that way, but I always big believer in that because it never fails. Whatever you do, it's going to come back to you. So that's why I keep going. I never see a dead end in my life. I've been through so much, half of stuff we did, but I always find something and I'll get out of it. And it always works.
Which is, obviously not everyone can say that, but you have, that's why I was, on the way here, I was telling you, you're a different kind of animal. Just because I don't think majority of people would continue doing what you're doing. Right now, you've got this really exciting business, Bin Mayhem, and I'm sure our audience would love to hear more about it. Tell us about. I mean, you kind of gave us a little overview about Bin Mayhem, but tell me about Bin Mayhem and what why is that special, and how would our consumers here in Arizona benefit from that?
So there's a couple of things. So it took us forever. I'll probably say more than a year to figure it out. But now when we did, so what we do, we buy all this stuff, like all these Amazon people, they buy, then they return it. So 80% of the returns are in a brand new in good shape because people don't like them. And 20% are people, they break them, then they return it. So the 80% stuff, we're getting it like somewhere around less than 20% of their retail value. So then we try to sell it up at like 30% retail value, and then people love that. So when you get something brand new, like for example, a Seiko watch, it's like cost you a $300, $400, and then we're selling for, like $40 or $50. So that's kind of there's a lot of margin for those. And then also in the bin store, what are we doing there? So we buy a truckload, for example, and then we pay any amount, like you said, $20,000. And then we put in the bin, and then we try to make maybe, after the payroll and everything, like maybe $5,000 a week, which is really a minimum. But my main goal is there to get people excited about it. So when people go there, they find sometime, because half the stuff we have, I'll probably say from 6,500 items in a truckload, we probably have at least 2,000 items. They're more than $40 worth.
Right.
We're selling for $10 everything.
Oh, yes.
On Saturday. And then, so people love that. And then they find sometime, like one person the other day, he found some lens, it worth like $90. And then he bought it on Friday, it was $1 a deal. So he bought that for $1.
Wow.
And then people look for stuff in there, and then every day they find something good they can use. So that's kind of, it's a different concept. And then everybody comes in, their eyes are lit up like this. Oh my God, I'm gonna keep coming back here because it's so cheap, it's so good. And and then my buddy, he called me, he said, you kind of open a buffet for people. They go over there, they pick up the stuff, and then it's so cheap.
That's true, because I was there last Friday when you guys were stocking up. And I saw this like Honeywell electric fan. I mean, I checked in Amazon, it's like $60. You were selling it for $10.
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday, $10, and then go to 8 and 6 and 4. If somebody didn't buy it, they might be able to get it for $2.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I told my mother-in-law about it. So you're gonna see her there. Maybe tomorrow. She's probably listening right now. So shout out to my mother-in-law, Edith. She's gonna be visiting your store soon. But going back to the other businesses, you've had a flooring company, you've had a cement company, and you've got this, warehouse, Bin Mayhem now. Do you have like certain principles you follow in your head? Like, if I'm going to get into this business, I want to make sure they hit these categories. Do you have that kind of like concept in mind?
No, not really. I just go with the flow. Somebody come over, and then I just, I listen to them, and then, if something make sense, and then I said, let's try it. But before, I didn't put any number to it, to be honest with you. That's why I lost so much money, because I was trusting people and thinking, they're going to do the right thing. They're not going to lie to me.
Right.
And when then you hear those stories, then I said, oh man, it was too late sometime. I spent like on the cement manufacturing we did, I lost $1.5 million on it. Right. Yeah, and that was a big loss. But, end of the day, I still learn from everything. That's how I go. But now I limit myself on, I still do different stuff, but I limit, like maybe, I'm going to only invest $10,000 to $15,000 or $20,000. If I don't make it what I'm thinking it's going to do, I'll just stop it. So that's what kind of minimizing my risk going forward, And so that's kind of a key, I think.
Well, as we know, experience is the best teacher, but some of them are just expensive.
Yeah, they're very expensive sometimes.
Right?
Yeah.
So right now, as you know, there's so many Americans unemployed. And a lot of those, I know a few who are thinking of, putting up a business right now. What would you tell them, given our economic situation, your experience, what advice would you give them? Should they pursue at this time with the business, whatever business they have in mind? What kind of advice would you give them?
It depends what you do, because I never stop.
Right. I know you don't.
Yeah, I'm keep going on the same speed it was before November, and the same speed right now, because we're still I'm building self-storage, so hopefully we totally groundbreak in 3 months. And then I still bought another land, and then I'm building another truck parking lot. So I have not stopped anything. And then I start this even new thing with the Mayhem,
Right.
and they're doing really well. So I think you can do anything you want to as long as you know, like at least a little in and out of it, And I don't think we should stop unless you're going into a restaurant business. I mean, I still see new restaurants opening too, but again,
Right.
it depends how you do, what you do. I think I wouldn't even stop. Like I will keep going. If you're gonna, that's why I tell people it's your destiny. Whatever you're gonna get it no matter what. As long as your soul is and heart is clear, you want to do something. I think you'll achieve that goal. I never see failing people on that part.
I agree with you 100%. With my company, Gap Tech Global, we just rebranded. And this pandemic, it really almost knocked me out. And I was telling my guys in the Philippines, I'm fighting hard, very hard, just to kind of keep everyone employed. I haven't paid myself in the last few months, just so we could keep the operation going. But in the last few weeks, we've closed some major deals. And I think the key there is you just have to persevere. I mean, I really almost lost the company not too long ago. And then last year, I almost shut down too because we had a client that didn't pay. It really hurt me. But as entrepreneurs, you go through this. And I think the key is resilience. And if you're committed to the objectives, your goals, you're going to get it done. And obviously, Tony, you've done it multiple times. And that's why, I think if there's anyone who's kind of like contemplating on putting their business, or maybe they have a business who's struggling, I hope they learned something here today, that you just don't give up. Because, the only time you lose is when you quit. And I love this saying from Mark Cuban. He said that in business you only need to be right once.
Right, yeah,
But in your case, Tony, you've been right multiple times, so you're a special case. We were talking about your religion, and I have great respect for the Sikh community, just because how they're so tight, and the human respect is there. And the thing is, I don't think a lot of people understand what the religion's really about. And I'd love for you to kind of enlighten us. What's the Sikh religion about? I mean, give us some kind of overview on that.
Yeah. So I mean, when you talk about Sikh religion, it start in early like 1400s, and it's not too old.
Mm-hmm.
And but the main thing in our religion is it's a philosophy. So our like religious book, like we have a Bible and Quran, and then our called Guru Granth Sahib. That's
Yeah.
our religious book, and in whole Guru Granth Sahib Ji, it's all philosophy. Every single thing it tells you how to live your life and how to respect people, how to respect human beings, how to share with the people, and not to be a greedy, or not to be a cheater or a liar. It's just the same philosophy I see in any other religion,
Mm-hmm.
but our religion has no stories at all. I mean, a lot of other religion, they have some stories in them, like, oh, this, that, like human story. But our religion, we have none. Most of stuff is just on a philosophy. And it's everything like talking about God is only one, and he take care of everybody. You're born with your destiny. And then also like we have in our religion, when you do like a baptism, when you really become a real sick, then you have to do all these the prayers in the morning. So it's like 30 to 45 minutes, and then in the evening, and then before you go to sleep. And every single prayer, that's what we talk about, like God is only one, and then you always share with the people, and then you always help people, and then you have to be humble, and you have to respect. Like before in India, when a religion started, there was for the poor people, they were calling them like a low class people, and then also for the women,
Mm-hmm.
there was no respect. The people were thinking them like as a shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And our guru, when he started, he told them like, hey, how can be a female like a shoe when he gave birth to all these big shoulder and big, like, anybody who born from the women. How you can say that women have no respect? So that's how I started with that. And then a lot of people don't even know, because that was our first guru who started, I think, in everywhere, like giving respect to the female. And so there's so many things. I mean, I probably take us, forever to explain everything. But that's like a main rule. Like, you're not supposed to cheat people, and then you always have to share, no matter how much you have. I mean, like, we have a lot of, after religious work, then people, have some real stories about, like, some a guy in India. It was a farmer, and he didn't even have enough food for his kids and his wife. So he was working in his field, and then he brings some one day, like a little bit, wheat or corn or something, and then the wife was cooking. And then there's a guest come to their, knock at their door. He said, "Hey, I'm hungry. I came over here." And then they only had like two tortillas, and then there were three people already. And when that guy come in, and then the husband and wife start fighting, they want to give it to him because they don't want to eat and they want to help him. And so the guy go, "Why are you guys fighting?" He said, "Well, we're not fighting over who's going to eat. We're fighting who's not going to eat." So that's kind of our religion is like, it doesn't matter how much you have, and then you always be a humble, and then always be happy what you have, and then you always ready to share with the people. And that's, I believe in that, because when you do that, the happiness to your soul, and it's like unbelievable. You will not be happy to having everything in the world, and then what you will be happy when you're helping somebody, but even you don't have that. That's what I always try to do. I mean, a lot of time I get stuck myself, but I don't even have it, and I still try to help people. And it get me into trouble with my family, because they, they don't
Raj is
understand.
listening right now.
Yeah, so they don't understand my philosophy. Then I keep telling him, I said, I don't, like, everybody are different. I don't think I'm different, but I think differently. And then I always believe in that. I'm a big believer of that. Whatever I do, I always say, what, this was written. That's how it's going to be happen. I know everybody's smart. We try to do business. We try to do different things. But end of the day, I think it's your destiny. What are you going to get, and what time are you going to get? That's how it's going to happen. No matter how hard you try, how you do it. And I keep trying, and I want to do something in my life. Like I said, my goal to build something here that can be a something special for people, and then maybe somebody else can do something different, kind of same way, but maybe for other people.
That's right.
Yeah, that's kind of why I always tell people.
So like, exactly what you said, I've heard that from you maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So I guess my question is, that belief, how does that play into your day-to-day life? Before you operate, you can go on your day as a businessman. How important it is to have that relationship with upstairs, with God. I mean, how do you value that, and what role did that play in your life?
That's actually really huge goal, because before, I always pray, but I was praying a little bit, and then I was asking something before, like, "God, I want this," and then I always get it somehow. I always tell my wife I said, "You know what? I don't want to ask too much, because I get it. Whatever I ask for, I get. Like, even if something wrong, I don't need it. I still like." Then I stopped doing that, and then like 4 or 5 years ago, I was eating meat before, but in a religion, you're not supposed to eat meat. But there's some people kind of fight over that, yes or no. But the way I feel it, when I pray after I stop eating meat and stuff, it just helped me more. Like, it kind of make me feel a different person inside. And then I told my wife one day, I said, "You know what? I'm not going to eat meat anymore." And then she was like, "There's no way." Because I was always, every time I eat, and she goes, "That's not going to happen." And then she, "Okay, I'm going to quit too." So we both quit at the same time. And then a year or so later, she started, like cooking for my kid, and she started eating a little bit here. And then she tells me, "Oh, are you going to eat?" I said, "No, I told you, man, I don't do that kind of stuff. If I said something, that's a done deal." I told her, I said, "You know what? I'm not going to eat meat no matter what." And she goes, "Well, you're going to get a weakness." And there's, you know what? I don't really care. I'm not going to eat meat no matter what happened. So that's kind of how I do always. Like, then the more I do that, and then with the prayers, it just give me more kind of clarity in my mind. And then I don't fear from anything. I always do stuff. And then I know when you're a family, because your family look at you like they want to protect you. They want you to do
Of
stuff like
course.
just for your inside family.
Right.
And then I keep telling her, I said, I know you and my family. I know you're my priority, but I have so many other priorities too with it because I see so many times like I was so close to death. When I moved from India and my one of my dad's friend, he told my dad, he said, hey, if your son was here another 2 months, he was on a list of police to pick him up and then kill him in a fake
Wow.
encounter. Yeah.
Wow.
So I've been so many, and then when also came from Nigeria, and then the flight we was gonna fly from there to New York, it crashed. So they tested on before they were gonna fly, and then it crashed right in the ocean. Everybody died. So and then we
Wow.
fly next one. So I mean, we was ready to fly in that flight. So I see so many times,
Wow.
like God gave me so many chances to live here. Then it make me think, you know what? I have to do something for just not for myself or my family, for a whole world or whole universe. Like I can do something. Like God be happy on that. That's kind of things keep me going. And I never plan anything either. I mean, like I don't plan early in the morning. Like I'm gonna do this. I just get up, do my prayer, then I go. That's it. And then after that, everything start happening.
Which is amazing because it's if you listen to business gurus and stuff like that, they always say plan this, plan that. That's why I always say you're different, but you still get it done. And I think you're one of those. You're just a special individual, with your intentions, with what you've done, and I think my biggest takeaway. Obviously, we've known each other for a long time. You're not the type of person or businessman who chase money. You chase purpose, which to me, what a powerful kind of way to live your life. And obviously, I've seen a lot of the people that you've affected. Obviously, I'm one of them. And I know you've had people around you who are just not good people around you,
Right.
who fooled you in many ways. But I see you as a big brother, a business mentor, and that's why I was telling Karen that, man, this is going to be such a special show. And I told all my guys in the Philippines, actually, you guys are going to get paid for an hour without working as long as you listen to this show, because it's very important. I told them that in Slack this morning.
Yeah.
You guys need to listen to this show because it's a life changer. And you only need to hear this kind of story, not even to get motivated, but to just to get inspired that if you're struggling in your business right now, you're not alone, number one, and that you will get out of it. Again, the only time you're going to lose is when you quit. If you can continue, just pursue. Tony, obviously you've done it in many ways. Sure, people will say you have the resources, but I've seen it not really.
Yeah, no, not
It
really.
wasn't always like you had the resources. I've seen your struggles too. And I've seen it like firsthand. For those who don't know, I worked with Tony. I was Tony's kind of like right hand guy on the consultancy side, I think from 2014 2016. So yeah, I've seen it, but it's that resilience. And again, I think it's that purpose. You're just so purpose driven that it's like nothing will come your way to get your whatever you want to achieve, which you're very clear. I think that's one thing too, is that clarity. Tony's very clear on what he has, what he wants to achieve. Obviously, you've had near deaths multiple times, and you treasure the gift of life, and you want to use that to make sure that whatever God's will for you is, it's getting done. You're almost there. You're way
No.
past halfway. So that's very encouraging. Um, I think the what I wanted to ask is again, for those who are thinking of going through businesses, how important it is to kind of find your purpose and not just kind of do it for money, because a lot of people are doing it, really probably 90%, if not 98%, are doing it just for money. What would you like to say about that?
Yeah, that's what I tell people. You cannot buy happiness with money. And then when you want own a business, most people they want like I want to be happy, I want to own a business, I want to do this, I want to do that. But all this stuff is it's just temporarily. I'll tell people, be real who you are, and then you can live good life. Whatever you make, it does not matter. You need to be, I would say, like saying, yeah, this is enough for me today. Whatever I get. But when you start thinking that, I think you're always going to grow, because if you look at bigger people, there's not enough for nobody. But when you're thinking other way, then there's always enough for everybody. That's the way I think always. I mean, yeah, you can do a business, but always keep in mind you want do a business to change people's life, not just make money, because money not going to get you anywhere. We have to have a money to live on, but I don't think it's like you have to just be happy. You can be happy with a little bit of money, but then you still have a lot of more, good feelings about everything else you do. So that's why I tell people, like, do what your heart or your soul wants you to do. Yeah, you can be your own business. Yeah, you can thinking about, I want to make a lot of money. What are you going to do with the money? That's a really question. Yeah, you can have a $2 million, $10 million, $1 billion in your account, and then you die, or you had a heart attack, you have any problem, you have a health issue. What are you going to do with it?
Right.
Nothing. So that's what I always make your purpose. Like, hey, in my life, okay, I want to help my neighbor. I want to help my kid. I want to help my grandma. I want to help doesn't matter who it is, who you love. You think about that, hey, I want to help people, and then you go out of that wandering, like, now I want to help my neighbor, then maybe I want to help somebody else I don't even know.
Right.
When you start thinking that way, I think you're always going to have success. And then you're going to love that feelings too. And my experience, I can't even explain that. I mean, to be honest with you, because I've done so many times, and then it gave me such a good feeling, and the money is nothing.
Right.
So that's what I tell people. Don't worry too much about money. Money will come when you do right thing. And then just do good stuff and do right thing, and then everything will follow,
So I think on that note, and obviously, we're coming towards the end of the show. My biggest takeaway on this show is that when you do business, first of all, you don't always start with a dream. Like, you never dreamt of having a trucking company. So for those who are starting a business, it doesn't really have to be based on a dream. I think the most important thing is it has to be based on a need. In your case, it was really based on a purpose, right? All these businesses combined together, it's gonna, accumulate into helping you achieve your ultimate purpose, which is building that, community complex here. And other than that, it's the resiliency, right? I mean, like I said, you've displayed that multiple times. So on that note, I'm sure people would love to know more about you and your businesses, especially with Ben Mayhem. What is the best way to reach you, to contact you? If you want to give your email out, I'm sure some people probably want to reach out to you. What's the best way to connect with you?
Well, yeah, I mean, either way, yeah, my email is tony@mangatgroup.com. And so they can email me, and then I'll definitely call everybody or whoever wants to know more.
Awesome. And Ben Mayhem, does Ben Mayhem have a website?
Yeah, we have it. So www.benmayhem.com, and they can go there. We're starting, I think this week, we're going to start online sale too. So, and also we help people too. If anybody wants to start anything like we're doing, I have no problem to teaching them.
Wow.
They'll make money from that. That's not an issue at all. Yeah.
Okay, so that's www.binmayhem.com,
Yes.
binmayhem.com. And
Yes.
again, this is located at 43rd Avenue and Bell Road.
Yeah, 4377 Best Bell Road.
There you go. So again, Tony, thank you so much for being here. This has been a great show. I hope our listeners really had a great time listening today. So on that note, this has been your host, Chris Yap, and our show From Zero to Revenue. This show has been brought to you by GapTech Global, your one-stop shop outsourcing company for customer service, marketing, and various back-office work. You can learn more about their services at www.gaptechglobal.com. Again, this has been your host, Chris Yap, of the podcast show From Zero to Revenue. As Stephen Covey said, all things are created twice, first in the mind, then in reality.